Hello viewers, welcome to Science Insight. Today we are going to learn about various organelles of the cell. It will be a very interesting video, so keep watching till end and do subscribe our channel for more informational content. Did you know that animal cell is smaller than the plant cell? It is a type of a eukaryotic cell that lacks a true cell wall. Like in fungi, cell wall is of chitin. In plants, cell wall is made up of cellulose. However, the plant animal cells are not made up of any sort of cell walls. It have irregular shape, or you can say there are multiple shapes of each type of the cells in animals. In this video, we are going to discuss only two type of organelles present in animal cell. Number one is the cell membrane, which is the outermost boundary which surrounds the cell and keeps them alive. And then second organelle we are going to discuss is nucleus. Rest there are multiple other organelles present, but we will discuss them in our later videos. All the cells are completely surrounded by a membrane that separates them from their environment, kind of like your skin completely covers your body. This cell membrane is sometimes referred to as plasma membrane. If we zoom in on the membrane, we can see that it is made up of several molecular components. Most of the membrane is made up of molecule called phospholipids. Phospholipids have a head made up of phosphate and two tails made up of fatty acids. That means the phosphates are attracted towards the water. However, the fatty acid tail will be repelling the water molecules. In this figure, you can clearly see the purple ones are basically representing the lipid bilayer. This phospholipid bilayer is the main component of the cell membrane, and it is largely responsible for making the membrane semi permeable. Then comes the second membrane component, which is cholesterol. Although people often think of cholesterol as a bad thing, it's actually a very important part of the cell membrane where it helps to stabilize the membrane and make it a better controlling what it can pass through the cell membrane. Then there are some proteins which are very important part of the membrane. They do many functions for the cell membrane, but one of the most important one is it allow the transport of material across it, especially if they have a hard time passing through the phospholipids. Means if some molecules are not able to pass the lipid bilayer, they will be passing through the protein channels. A fourth membrane component is carbohydrate. They are often called cell identification. Blood types, for example, are the result of membrane carbohydrates attached to the proteins. These help you to identify the blood that belongs to you and distinguish it from the foreign invaders. All of these components work together to make the plasma membrane that surrounds all the cells and critically important barrier needed for the life on Earth. Did you know membranes can be up to 75% of proteins by mass? Yes, membrane proteins are those proteins that are either the part of the membrane or they interact with the biological membranes. These proteins are may partially or wholly embedded inside the plasma membrane. They help with both facilitated diffusion and active transport, which connect cells together, participate in signal transduction, and act as a marker for the cell identification. Proteins carry out most of the specific function of the membrane, so the amount and type of protein may vary with the different membranes. There are various roles performed by the cell membrane. The very important role played by cell membrane is that it provides protection to the cell from its surrounding environment. The cell membrane or plasma membrane controls the passage of some of the solutes and water into and out of the cell. They control the substances and their movement, such as water, oxygen, and nutrients. They also control the harmful substances that should be kept out of the cell. So, in short, we can say that the cell membrane, the outermost layer of the cell, is a flexible, which encloses the different type of cellular organelles. It is rigid and serve as a supportive and structural function towards the cell, indicating that it is metabolically active and has a selective permeability as well, and it changes as per need. The second organelle we are going to discuss is nucleus. It is introduced by Robert Brown in 1840. What's the part of the nucleus? Cell parts, function. I have always heard about the nucleus is the brain of the cell. But why it is brain of cell and what are the major parts of the nucleus? Let's discuss in detail. We always heard about that nucleus is the control center of the cell. It has a very high DNA concentration. It is the site for transcription, which is the starting point of the protein synthesis. This is how we refer that the nucleus controls the cell. It has all the information on how to make stuff like proteins inside the cell. These proteins are used for many other purposes inside the cell. Ribosomes are also made inside the nucleus. All the eukaryotic cells have a nucleus, and bacteria and other prokaryotic cells do not have true nucleus. Instead, they have a nucleoid region. So, let's discuss the components which are composing the nucleus. Nucleus is a large organelle and you can see through it a compound microscope. While looking into the main components of the nucleus are number one is the nuclear membrane. It is a very similar to the plasma membrane and is composed of two layers. It protects and houses all the components of the nucleus inside it. Then comes the nuclear pores, which are the openings on the nuclear membrane. This opening allow the movement of the material in and out of the nucleus. An example would be the messenger RNA, which would travel through the nuclear pore to leave the nucleus. There are some ribosome present on the outside of the nuclear membrane as well. Nucleoplasm, there is a gel-like structure found inside the nuclear membrane. You will find that DNA is suspended in this nucleoplasm. Then the last region is very important, which is known as nucleolus, and it is the dark region present inside. So it has a high concentration of the DNA, and DNA present here is like you can say in the form of thread-like structures, which are referred to as chromatin material. Nucleolus have a very important function of for making the ribosomes. All the eukaryotic cells have a nucleus. However, bacteria and all the prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus. Instead, they have a nucleoid region present in them. You have heard about the chromosome. Yes, now I have mentioned before that chromatin material is present inside the nucleus. This chromatin material condense and convert itself into X-shaped chromosome at the time cell have to divide. This chromosome contains DNA, which means it has a hereditary information, or it is the hereditary unit containing all the information which is transferred from parent cell to the daughter cell. This DNA is duplicated in the interphase of the cell cycle. You can see the video in our on our channel later. I hope your concepts are much clear and you enjoyed the video. Please like it, subscribe, and check out the other interactive learning videos on our channel at Science Inside. Till then, take care. Good luck.